For the love of the founding fathers, please stop getting caught up in this semantics game where you start defending guns like the AR-15. That's not an assault weapon. Let me show you what the definition of an assault weapon is. And then you get into this thing where all they have to do now is change the definition. So the ATF, if you look, they've already redefined what an assault weapon is here recently, and it's basically the description of every semi-automatic weapon, every semi-automatic gun, handgun, and from what I can tell based on what I read, it applies to every single semi-auto pistol and rifle, all of them, because of the way they describe it. And so that's all they have to do is say, okay, this is an assault weapon. And you know that the dumbasses on the left are going to run with that new definition. And pretty soon, it would be pump action. If it has a pump action, it's an assault weapon. And then pretty soon after that, it would be if it holds a cartridge that doesn't have to use a rod and shot and a ball, and they'll have you down to muskets again. And then if they get you down to muskets, they're going to say, well, if it's got a shot and ball, it's an assault weapon. We know how this is. They gave the Brady group gave us their little game plan back in the 90s when they said they knew they were going to have to take a slice. They couldn't have the whole loaf now. They would have to take a slice at a time, and that's what they do. They try to take a piece at a time and make it so that they're taking it in stages and steps, trying to ban all guns. Anybody that tells you, well, I'm pro-gun, but when you hear that but, they're not pro-gun at all. If they say I'm pro-Second Amendment or I'm pro-gun or I believe in guns or I believe in the right to bear arms, but they're a liar. They're just an effing liar. Their utopia, whether they admit it or not, their perfect world is gun-free, period, regardless of the bullshit that they lay out there. When you hear the but, stop thinking that you're having a discussion with anybody that's anything but just a low-life liar. I can at least handle the ones that say they want the Second Amendment repealed, because those ones at least are being, they'll at least be honest with you. This is what we want. This is what I want anyways. They want guns gone. Okay, I can respect that. I don't agree with it, but I can at least respect the honesty. They have enough integrity to just tell you what they're wanting, what they want. Yeah, when you hear the but, just understand you're dealing with a liar. Stop getting caught up in this shit. Stop getting caught up with this thing of, we just need to get rid of assault weapons. And then you start defending the AR-15 as, well, it's not an assault weapon. See, an assault weapon here is a full auto, blah, 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 or has full auto, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then they just change the definition like the ATF is doing now to where an assault weapon it no longer is something that has the ability to fire full auto. And now where are you going to go with it? Now you're going to have to say, well, it used to be. Well, okay, they don't give a shit about what used to be. The Second Amendment is about defense of this nation. Whether you agree with that or not, and if you don't, you're a dumbass who failed U.S. history and doesn't know anything about the history of this country and why the Second Amendment was written. Literally, when you get into the Second Amendment, you see that it's about the militia, making sure that a citizen militia would be armed. That's why they are protecting the right, the pre-existing right to keep and bear arms. What's the militia about? Why would the citizen militia need guns? If you go back into the Article 2, I believe, the Constitution, it talks about the president being basically the leader of the militia when Congress would call them up and basically prepare them for what? Defense of this nation, for war, for putting down insurrections. That is what the Second Amendment is about. That is what the right to keep and bear arms is about. Insurrections, invasions, protecting this country from tyrants and from, foreign armies, whatever the threat is to it. You don't do that with sharp sticks and harsh language. You don't do that with slingshots, not anymore, not even with bows anymore. This isn't 1639 or 1220 AD. You know what I'm saying? The guns is the choice. The Second Amendment is about armed response to a military invasion, if that is the case. You don't do that in 2024 with muskets. You don't do that in 2024 with slingshots and bows. You do that with assault weapons. All weapons are weapons of war. A .22 single-shot gun is a weapon of war because it can take a man's life. Now, it's not going to be overly effective at it, but it can do it. You don't have to defend the AR-15. Well, it's not a weapon of war. It's not an assault. Who gives a shit? The Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear weapons of war. Period. If you don't understand that, then you have failed U.S. History 101. You have failed to understand what the founders literally were doing, why they wrote the Second Amendment. Stop defending the AR-15. I don't even own an AR-15. I don't even want an AR-15. I don't even like the looks of these guns that these so-called assault weapons. I don't even like them. I'm never going to buy one. I've got Beretta 92s and pump 12 gauges. That's kind of what I enjoy, right? So I don't have a horse in this race. I just think that it's semantics and it's bullshit for people in the gun community to keep defending the AR-15 as if you need to defend it. It is protected by the Second Amendment, even if it's a so-called assault weapon or weapon of war. The Second Amendment is about weapons of war. If it weren't, the word militia would never fucking be in the text. Look at the word. It's militia. Go back to, I believe it's Article 2 or Article 4 and the Constitution. It's right there. What the president, look up the word militia in those articles. And you can see what the president does. And then you can look there and you can see why, what the militia's job is. Putting down insurrections, stopping invasions. That's war, right? Literally, that's war. So, by definition, the Second Amendment is about weapons of war. So when somebody tells you, your AR-15, it's a weapon of war, we need to get that off the street, you tell them to piss off, because the right to keep and bear arms is literally about weapons of war, whether it is a single shot, whether it is semi-auto, or whether it is full auto. We have allowed the government over the last 50, 60, 70 years to infringe on our rights to keep and bear arms the way the founding fathers wanted us to be able to carry them, wanted us to have. They wanted us to be armed as well as a contemporary soldier would be. That's what the Second Amendment is about, period. If you don't believe that, then you're just some uneducated dumbass with a point of view that doesn't jibe with history. Y'all have a great day.